So, my friends, this is happening. Yes, hello, my friends. This is Takuyi with the History of Everything podcast YouTube channel, and we are once again back with a bit of a reaction video. What has been happening over the past several days, you probably noticed that the whole setup in here in the first place, like where it is that I'm situated, looks a little bit different. I understand that. I am literally here in a hotel in Sanremo in Italy because I literally just finished with the group trip that we did in Italy, which was a ton of fun, and I thank each and every one of you that went out and joined me for it. We even did a live recording of the podcast here, and it was a ton of fun. And while I was at literally dinner, it was like the farewell dinner, the final thing that we were doing, and I check my phone, and the Ubisoft trailer drops for Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is it, my friends. This is it. This is the feudal Japan game that they've wanted, the ninja game that has always been wanted. Or is it? For anyone who is watching this right now, for anyone who has been reading the title of whatever it is that I'm actually putting here on the title of this video, Assassin's Creed is a series that has been surrounded by a lot of controversy in the past, decade at this point. It feels like anytime I'm talking about any of this with games or movies that no one seems to be able to escape issues with this sort of thing. And a game that I will say is something that has been highly anticipated for many, 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 many years, something that has been very heavily desired, is now not exactly in the kind of light that Ubisoft wants. It has developed its own controversy by virtue of what it has chosen to represent this time period. Now, before we begin this, I'm going to go ahead and say I have not seen the trailer. I have only seen what a couple people have said about the trailer, but literally no other details with it. I do not know any of these specifics. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to have you and I go through and we're going to watch this here together. I'm going to point out things that I think are good. I'm going to point out things that I think are bad. And right from the get-go, you can already probably see on the, I should be pointing this way here so it's actually reflected, right-hand side, that this appears to be the two main characters that are going to be situated in this Assassin's Creed series, a samurai and a ninja. And if you notice anything about them, the samurai is black and the ninja is a woman. Now you can possibly see where there's going to be a little bit of an issue for some people. I'm going to reserve judgment, and I'm going to go ahead and try and approach this here as diplomatically and as reasonable as possible so people understand where it is that I'm coming from over the course of this. This is not a video that is designed to validate your hatred of a subject. This is not something that is designed to provide an argument or saving grace for something that doesn't deserve it. But I still do want to know your opinion. So go ahead and like this video and let me know in the comment section below what it is that you think about this. And my friends, let's go ahead and dive into this and start this trailer. Okay, so immediately from the beginning, we have what is a shadowy figure that is chasing a very clear samurai through the woods. And I gotta say from the very beginning, just looking at some of the armor of what it's showing, if there is anything that Ubisoft can do, anything, is that they can make a trailer. I'm going to go ahead and say that from the very get-go. The little details of what it puts in here, the glistening sweat, the idea of the top knot, it's all things that are very good to be able to put in to specifically represent the samurai, which for anyone who is wondering what exactly this is, and if anyone wants a little curious detail of why samurai wore their hair like this, why would they shave half their head? The whole reason was because if you go and see their helmets, it was so that it would be able to sit evenly on their head, and simultaneously it would end up being tied into their helmet to hold it in place. Like everything about the samurai from their visage is specifically meant for warfare. That was everything. So it looks really cool from the okay, all right, hold on. I am seeing, it looks like he pulled a throwing star out of his chest. Okay, so that was a thing that was, yes, there were throwing stars in all different kinds of shapes. It wasn't just the same classic thing that you would see for anyone who grew up watching Naruto or anything like that. There are many different forms. I also like how he's pulling it out of his armor to show that, yeah, this little throwing star is not something that would just be able to penetrate actual heavier armor. So that's more of a distraction than anything else.
Who are you?
I'm Takuyi. Hello, nice to meet you. Gonna go ahead and turn on the volume. I don't know how loud this actually is gonna come out here in the first place, but I'm gonna turn this down so that it's not overpowering.
Who do you serve?
All I have ever known in my...
Oh my god, we're getting into a Zack Snyder film. Oh, the wheat field. If you'll know what I'm talking about with slow motion and wheat fields on this rice? Like, what did they do with agricultural production? It's an interesting thing to start out that from the very beginning.
My life. Our land.
Okay, so this from the beginning appears to be the female ninja character. It is Noe, I believe, is what they said that the name was. I don't actually remember seeing exactly what it was, but this is an individual that from the very beginning is talking about her land, her people growing up, and it's showing an agricultural community. I'm very curious if it goes and shows in this as it goes on that perhaps she was part of a farming clan or something like that, because historically speaking, the ninjas, as we know about, the shinobi in Japan specifically arose out of ways for farmers, for people that were not trained in the art of war to be able to fight back against, say, warriors using means of deception because they could not necessarily compete on the battlefield. Yes, you had people that were trained assassins, and you had entire clans that were dedicated specifically to the art of subterfuge. That is something that definitely was done. But a lot of the early ninja weapons that you see, like the kusarigama, which is like the chain and sickle, is literally just a farming sickle, right? That is in turn modified by adding chains onto it. It was stuff that used farming implements and it turned them into weapons of deception and war. Well, not war, combat, fighting. You know what I mean.
Our customs. My family. Burns in the name of unification.
Burns in the name of unification. Okay. So what it means is that this is taking place during the Sengoku Jidai, the age of war in Japan. It's the thing that people have been wanting for the longest time. So once we get into the actual characters a little bit more, it's going to start to get a little bit weird, I think. This is where people are going to have more of a problem. But the setting and everything that I'm seeing here visually looks amazing. But then again, of course, we have to remember that this is Ubisoft, and if there is, again, anything that they can do, it's make a trailer. Whether or not they actually deliver on that trailer is a completely different thing entirely. Okay. So I have to pause this. Because I'm going to grant this. I wasn't expecting to actually really like this, and I'm not talking murdering a bunch of civilians. No, nothing like that. But yes, that happened a lot. Samurai were not all honorable forces and yada, yada, yada. There was a whole thing that samurai had for specifically training their weapons that they would get, like a blade specifically, especially going into the 17 and 1800s on just random peasants, okay? Like literally passing by the street, testing the sharpness of their blade, cutting someone. They did not generally give a crap about peasants' lives. But what I like about this specifically is, first off, the armor looks genuinely very good. I hope that is what is in the game and they don't really screw around with it, because that looks nice. Secondly, right, they're using spears. This right here for an actual samurai on foot would more than likely be the weapon that would be utilized, because we all think of samurai as being like the swordsman, the katana, that kind of thing. It's the thing that's represented in media and games and movies all the time. The fact that from the very beginning with this trailer, they're showing samurai wielding spears, yari, which were actually the primary weapons of the samurai. Well, at least at this time period, that's what it became. Prior to this, it was the bow. The bow was the primary weapon for the longest time. Still, for a melee weapon, that makes me very happy, even as I'm watching some grandmother getting stabbed in the stomach with this. Okay, priorities. I understand. There we go. Okay. You know, I like that it's showing her being untrained, that in the very beginning, assuming she has no training here at the very beginning, that she didn't just run and do some kind of crazy thing in here. It's like, no, I run in and just shove a guy over. That's actually some real possibility for growth. Oh, wait, no, there's the ninja action.
Still a frog in a well who knows nothing of the sea.
Whoa, okay, wait a minute, wait. Hold on, Ubisoft. Are you not just doing a black samurai and female ninja? Are you making them do opposing storylines? For anyone who has not played any of the Assassin's Creed games or anything like that here, is where you have dual characters, right? Where you're playing two different characters, but they were always working together, like in the case of Assassin's Creed Syndicate and that sort of thing, or where you could play as either a male or female version of something, like in the case of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, or that sort of thing. They haven't done a game, as far as I'm aware, where in the same game you are playing as two different people that are actually opposed against the other. Because if what this is saying is that the female ninja, that she specifically, her village is destroyed by the forces of what I'm assuming is Yasuke, like the African samurai of legend and history, that he was a retainer of Oda Nobunaga, the great unifier of Japan. So talking about her, everything being destroyed in the fires of unification, that means that she would want to get revenge on Oda, assuming that that is what this is about. Okay, I have to say, in terms of just drama, even if people have an issue with the characters, that is a very interesting plotline that I have not seen them kind of go into before. That is, I'm genuinely surprised by that. As for Yasuke, though, well, this is where a number of people start to really have issue with things.
Of the sea. The ocean's filled with new ships, but they all come from the same river. Greed.
Okay, so what we just saw there, that was Yasuke. That was Yasuke serving Oda. I find it very interesting that he's talking stories here when it comes to greed, because the story of Yasuke, for anyone who is unfamiliar with it, it's a fascinating one. For anyone who is angry on the internet right now saying that this is not real, it's more so that the likely answer of Yasuke is that it's an exaggeration. Yasuke, from the very beginning, for anyone who does not recognize it, this is a individual likely of African origin. I say likely of African origin because the only thing that we really know for certain is that he was dark. Like, there's a 95% chance in this here that he was African. I'm gonna say that from the very beginning. Like, that is the more likely thing. But what we know about this guy's history is that he originally arrives in Japan in the service of a Jesuit missionary. The Jesuits at this time were in Japan specifically trying to convert the population, and the bringing of Yasuke as a servant of them was this huge, huge moment for a number of Japanese courts. Like, wherever he went, it was crazy. Because, as per the records, he was over 6 feet tall, he was with dark skin, and many people at this time in Japan had never seen an African man before. They had never seen an African in general. A number of people didn't even know that skin could actually be black, that it could be dark. That seemed crazy to them. Nobunaga even personally believed that he had actually dyed his skin black with ink, and so he made him strip off all of his clothes and then wash himself. But no, obviously he existed as a man, and Nobunaga immediately took a liking to him. There's a Japanese manuscript that actually talks about this specific event that goes as follows. A black bozu from the Christian country has arrived. He appears to be 26 or 27 years old. The blackness of his body is like that of a bull, and he is healthy and of fine physique. Moreover, he has the strength of more than 10 men. The padres came with him and thanked Lord Nobunaga for his permission to proselytize. This guy was so well liked by Nobunaga and his court that Oda Nobunaga specifically made a personal request to the Jesuits to release him from their service and to transfer him to theirs. But this wasn't to be some like simple servant or page boy or anything like that. No, this was something that Yasuke was going to be a figure of status, of import, to show the power and prestige of Nobunaga and his court. So specifically, he was given the arms of a samurai. He was given his own sword. He was given armor. He was made a retainer. So a samurai, right? Like, he was a warrior of Nobunaga. Well, that's where it gets a little bit weird. Oh, they're using the teppo, they're using the guns, and hey, the symbol of Oda. Very good stuff.
Vengeance.
Okay, so this is a little bit, okay, I have to pause here. I have to, going into this thing here, right? So, remember when I said about what I liked in the very beginning with the whole attack on that village and how they were all utilizing spears? And now, lo and behold, here we have all of them going and using swords in a random charge into battle, it looks like, with Yasuke front and center serving in this. We don't have any records of that. We don't. There are records that specifically talk about him fighting, but not in any of the battles of unification of Oda Nobunaga. No, most of the time, like, this guy would basically hold the tools that Nobunaga wanted. He would walk with Nobunaga because it was like this big important status thing, right? We literally have no record of him fighting except in the case of when Nobunaga died. And he tried to specifically go in and save his lord, which I'll grant him that. That is some awesome stuff. But he was turned away from the battle and immediately afterwards kicked out of Japan. That is the actual historical record of what happens, and then we know nothing else. This is one of those reasons as to why if you ever see any of the individuals online that purport to tell the true story of Yasuke and they try to talk about all the battles and everything else that he did, no. There are some legends that specifically talk about things, but we have literally no historical records whatsoever that talk about anything that he possibly could have maybe participated in. So Ubisoft going and creating a game on this that features Yasuke as that character is both interesting and weird. I say it's interesting because one of the things that is a strength of this is that, technically speaking, because the historical records are so vague in that sense, because they don't really exist, you could, technically speaking, do anything that you really want with it, which obviously Ubisoft is going to do. They're going to do anything that they want. The downside is, though, is that when it comes to this role of the samurai, specifically putting Yasuke front and center in this to be the samurai, the representation of that ideal or that aspect in Japan for feudal Japan when he is a foreigner is weird. Like, I would say this exact same thing if it utilized the, oh God, why can't I remember off the top of my head? Is the English guy. There's an English guy who also was basically turned into a samurai because of his shipbuilding knowledge. Hold on. William Adams, that guy. Okay, if they had him in this exact same kind of role, if they featured him, it's almost like a Tom Cruise-like thing of the last samurai in here, I would also go, what the hell is this? Why would you do that? One of the things in the past about Assassin's Creed that has been so beautiful has been seeing the past through the eyes of people in it, of that place, of that culture. This is the case when talking about Altair in the Holy Land, Ezio when it comes to Rome and Florence, and also going into Constantinople. This was the case for Assassin's Creed 3 when talking about, our man Connor and his story, which I can't for the life of me pronounce his Native American name, but specifically his mix, his caught between the colonial and the native in there, that fascinating mix. This goes and applies to when we are talking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla and the Norse. This applies to when we are talking about the Greeks, the Egyptians, all the varying things that we've seen through Odyssey, through Origins, through everything. That has always been consistent. And so this, by a number of East Asian people on the internet, has been taken at great offense. Because from what I understand, they feel as though they have been sidelined from a role that rightfully should have been theirs. The armor looks absolutely beautiful, though, I will say that. Okay, swords going through multiple suits of armor. Okay, that's not really how that would apply in the first place. But even then, why swords? Why are they literally all using swords in pitched combat like this? This is not how this would go down. There's the other thing that, of course, needs to be said in this when talking about things. This is the same problem that I had when going in with other Assassin's Creed locations. You don't typically think of a samurai as an assassin, of someone who is fighting in the shadows. So labeling this as something that would be Assassin's Creed, it again feels weird. Okay, so we're back in the village.
Will you continue down that river? Or choose another path beyond what we see?
So, again, it seems to really key in that the target of revenge in this case for her is probably Yasuke. I don't know. The story of what it's implying.
And we must look for it together.
Okay.
We must learn to trust. Rebuild.
Trust and rebuild. Wait, hold on, hold on. So is this supposed to be after the unification? Is Oda dead? Because Yasuke was kicked out of Japan after that. Like, that's what the records show for this. Obviously, they could go for something for an alternate history that says that he wasn't, but what? Also, if he's supposed to be blending in, and I know there's that whole thing about Assassin's Creed and right the white robes that they would have been wearing and not actually blending in with the crowd, but still a robe that is covering your face or all these other things could potentially blend in at a time when people were also wearing robes and hoods and all that other stuff. If my is walking around in full-blown ceremonial samurai armor, buddy, you are not going unnoticed. I'm saying this right now. There is nothing inconspicuous about this.
And follow the blade.
Dramatic, but okay. Lots of combat, lots of crazy stuff. I'm liking the Oni masks that is showing in here. I'm liking the face mask. I like the guard. I do really like the effort that they put into specifically the stylization of it. Even if I don't necessarily agree with the stuff of what they're doing with the characters, even if I find it interesting, simultaneously the architecture from what they show, and mind you, this is all trailer. It's not actual gameplay from this, but the architecture, the costumes, the everything that is being worn and presented in the world looks amazing. But again, that's always Ubisoft's specialty. Whoa. Hold on. So you're telling me my man Yasuke, in full ceremonial samurai armor, snuck into an enemy lord's house behind all of his guards without getting noticed, and then proceeded to slay the inhabitants? Really, Ubisoft. Well, I mean, honestly, he's noted now, but oh my god, he's using the cannibal. Okay, even if I'm annoyed by the concept, just the sheer presence of the cannibal is amazing. I love that. Okay, I do really appreciate that as a weapon to be introduced. For anyone who's not aware in this, who hasn't seen this, the cannibal was basically a giant two-handed club used in Japan only by like the biggest, strongest warriors that they could have. Essentially, think of it as a severely oversized baseball bat that was usually, in this case, to make it stronger and reinforce it, studded. So they would stud it, and oftentimes those studs could be spiked to the point that, yes, Japanese blades were not good at going against armor. They really weren't. But their armor didn't protect them very well against blunt damage. So you could have a man whirling around this giant club that would easily smash a man inside of his armor. I really do like this touch, and I do love the armor with the mon that specifically has Oda's sigil. Looks good. Even if it now looks weird. It looks good, but weird. I'm so conflicted right now. Get wrecked.
I said, who do you serve?
Managing to sneak behind him up in that armor again, I see. Okay.
We are the shadows.
You're on the shadow. Buddy. You're golden. You are literally so bright right now. You are not shadows. I mean, your skin is, to be fair. Okay, you know what it is that I mean here in this circumstance. You understand why that line sounds so bad right now, right?
That served the light.
Assassin's Creed Shadows. So that, my friend, was the trailer. And I didn't show this I didn't talk about this, but remember how I said how this video was controversial? It dropped literally a day ago, 1 day ago or so, at the time that I'm actually going and recording this, literally in my hotel room because I have to now. And in 1 day, it has managed to accrue over 5 million views. It is number 15 on trending. And this right here, this is the issue that Ubisoft is facing. 222,000 upvotes, 343,000 downvotes. So that is over half of the audience that voted on this or responded to this trailer did not like this. Did not like this. And I myself, when going and explaining about this, when talking about this, am conflicted. Because on one hand, I see the potential of what it is that they're talking about, while simultaneously understanding that it can be seen as very insulting, both to history and culturally. The most heroic thing about this trailer is that they left the comments open. Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, the fact that Ubisoft did not turn off the comments on this is genuinely surprising. I did not anticipate that. And of course, many people are talking about the common issue that Ubisoft has faced, where after a hype trailer like this is dropped, people pre-order a game only to then have the game come out and it is completely broken. It doesn't function. And on top of that is filled with crap. Now, Assassin's Creed Shadows has Naoe, so that's her name, and Yasuke with a little historical video, I guess, going over them personally. That's also probably something I'll need to look at here in a sec. But generally speaking, the response to this trailer has been quite negative. I'm not going to say overwhelmingly negative. It definitely is not that. But it is more negative than it is not. We Act in the Shadows said the only black man in Japan standing 1.8 meters tall in ceremonial armor. Okay, comment. See, I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one that saw this. But that, my friends, is Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, of course, we can go over a lot more of the history of it. We can go and talk about the different weapons. We can talk about the time period. We can talk about all these varying different things. For anyone who has seen the episodes that I've done on the History of Everything podcast, when going and talking about the single Kujidai and this time period, it is fascinating, and it's one of those things that I love. This is a thing that people have been waiting for a long time, and with this being what they are getting, even if the trailer looks visually amazing, there's a lot of potential problems with this. But let me know what it is that you think in the comment section below. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, let me know what it is you think. I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry it's taken so long for me to get more videos out. I have a lot more things that I'm going to be making and doing. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you all here next time. Goodbye, my friends.